Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Opera 101 with Cleveland Opera Theater. Opera 101 is our Monday through Friday series where we talk to you about all things opera. My name is Dean Buck, and I am the Assistant Conductor and Chorus Master of Cleveland Opera Theater. I figured today we would take a little break from kind of the more serious, constructive things that we've been talking about and talk about something that's a little more fun, a little more funny too, and that is some of the superstitions that are present among us in the opera world. Do we believe in them? Well, some do very much. Some people I've worked with are very, very, very deep in their belief in these superstitions. Some yes with some no with others. I feel for most of us, though, it's somewhere in between, where maybe rationally we're like, probably not, but just in the rare event, let's just avoid doing any of these things. So just going to run down a few of them to point out to those who are not in this world the things that we try to avoid doing. The first one is very similar to the theater world. It is very bad luck to wish an opera singer or a performer in opera good luck before performance. That is considered very, very bad luck. Typically in the theater world, they say break a leg. In the opera world, we usually have two things that we say. There are others, but the two most common are toi, 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 which the origins of that come from removing a hex on someone who is cursed. The biggest theory is that spitting on that person was the way to remove the curse or to remove the hex. Obviously, it wouldn't be sanitary or pleasant to be spit on before performance, so the words toi, toi, toi represent spitting 3 times to remove the curse. The other one that is from Italy and very common everywhere is in Boca Lupo, which means into the mouth of the wolf. This comes from, originally it's thought to come from hunters, who also had the same superstition of wishing good luck, probably not good, so you say into the mouth of the wolf. The correct response to that is crepi lupo, or just crepi, meaning die wolf, or may the wolf die. It is very, very bad luck to say grazie, or thank you, after someone says in Boca Lupo. You always say crepi or crepi lupo. That's one. Second one, we have all probably seen or brought flowers to someone after a performance. And it is very good and very appreciated when flowers are brought after a performance, but it is very bad luck to give someone flowers before a performance. That is considered very, very bad luck. The reason for that being is in the 18th century, 19th century, flowers were very expensive for a lot of the poor people who would come to operas, and they wanted to throw the flowers on stage to show support for the singers that they liked. So those who couldn't afford to go to the flower shop and buy expensive new flowers would take them off graves. So giving that before a performance was thought to infuse the performance with the energy of death and would wreak death upon the performance. So this tradition, although we no longer, at least most of us, don't take flowers off of graves, we still consider it very bad luck to give a performer flowers before a performance. Always, always after. Whistling. We all like to whistle sometimes, but whistling backstage is very, very bad luck. And supposedly a sandbag or a piece of the set will fall on your head if you whistle backstage. This one is actually not very ridiculous. In the early days of theater and opera, a lot of the stage hands were sailors hired from local ports. They did a lot of heavy lifting. They were used to pulling ropes, which were, how you used these sorts of things to move the set pieces. And sailors had a code of whistles that they would use to communicate with each other. So if a singer was casually whistling, one of the sailors may accidentally think, oh, it's time to change the set, and thus something bad would happen, not when it's supposed to happen. Those of you who are familiar with the theater world will know that there is particularly one play that is supposedly cursed, and that's a name you can't say in a theater. That is Macbeth by Shakespeare. And if you're in a theater, you call it the Scottish play. We have a couple of those in opera. Partially Tristan und Isolde. The first Tristan died of a heart attack weeks after the performance, and he was only 29. And multiple conductors have died in the middle of the performance of Tristan. Multiple conductors have died while performing it. This one, however, is eclipsed by the most cursed opera, which is Verdi's La Forza del Destino, or The Force of Destiny. Its name also most Italians and people who are well-versed in Italian opera do not really want to say in a theater, so we often call it La Potenza del Fato, which means the power of fate, instead of La Forza del Destino, the force of destiny. Why is this cursed? Well, this one has had a mess of issues. The first performance was delayed 9 months because the soprano was gravely, gravely ill. It is still very oddly frequent for theaters to lose power while performing this. And the most famous incident is that the famous baritone Leonard Warren died in the middle of a performance of this in the Metropolitan Opera. And kind of spooky, he died immediately after he finished singing the aria Morir tremenda cosa, which means to die a terrible thing. Kind of spooky. Pavarotti would never sing this role. He would never sing this show. He refused. He was too scared about the curse. And Franco Corelli would sing it, but he had a whole swath of rituals that he would go through before to ward off any curse. This is definitely the biggest curse that I know of in the opera world, and kind of the spookiest, because it still pops up. It seems almost every other year there is a performance of this opera where a set piece breaks, someone's in danger. It's kind of crazy when you see how many issues surround performances of this show. Two more to quickly discuss. One, it is considered very, very bad luck to wear purple. This comes from Italy as well. The origins of this are not particularly known. It's thought that it has something to do with people would wear purple to funerals, but wearing purple, especially on a performance day, is considered very, very bad luck. And the last one is probably the one that every musician is, of course, familiar with, is that of a dress rehearsal. If a dress rehearsal goes very poorly, we are all very relieved, because bad dress rehearsal means very good opening, and a good dress rehearsal keeps us all on our edge, and we're very terrified, because oftentimes the best dress rehearsals yield not the best openings. So everyone has their superstitions. Everyone has the different ways they interface with them. Whether they're true or not, no one knows, but these are just some of the things we think about in our world, and some of the superstitions that have come out over the years and gone on, and that we still pay some sort of attention to today. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. It's always so good to see you, and stay safe out there, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks again.